So my life is essentially a series of epic failures, so I had a lot of material for this. And I decided that I would go the place that everybody goes for failures, which is middle school. So this is essentially a string of my middle school relationships, essentially. We're gonna go chronologically. Some of them are worse than others, some of them are worse in different ways than others, but I hope they're all entertaining. So if we could start. This is John. We're not gonna use last names on any of these people, just in case this video goes on the internet. So when I was in 6th grade, I was in health class, and I'd never spoken to this kid before in my entire life. And health class has ended, and I'm like, you know, going down to put my books away, and when I get back up, there's a note on my desk. And I know it came from this kid, because he's the one standing at the door, like, smiling at me in a really terrified way. I'd never spoken to him before in my life, but I open up the note, and it says, "Will you go out with me?" And there's, you know, the little obligatory boxes, yes, no. But then underneath it says, "P.S. don't tell anybody." And I didn't tell anybody, including him. I never gave him an answer. I kind of thought he was a creep, since I had never spoken to him before in my life. But I'm telling you all now. So I guess I didn't keep that promise. This was actually my first boyfriend. His name is Alex. Yes, that's a little awkward. But he was the first person who asked me out to my face. This was also 6th grade. I was walking in the hallway and he stopped me and said, "Will you go out with me?" And I said the first thing which popped in my mind, which was, "I don't know, I have to ask my mother." So I came home and asked my mother, and she was really confused. She was like, "You're in 6th grade, what the hell are you doing having boys ask you out?" And she was like, "Well, okay, is he going to take you on a date?" And I was like, "You know, I'm pretty sure that's not gonna happen." And she was like, "Well, you know, how are you dating them? Like, what are you gonna do? Is he gonna call you on the telephone?" "No, I don't think so." "Okay, then I guess I have no problem with you going out with this kid." So I come to school the next day, and my lovely 6th grade self, what I say to him is, "Hey Alex, guess what? My mom says I can date you." So we went out for 3 months, and it was essentially hugging each other between classes. We'd like, all our classes were in the same hallway. We'd go out of the rooms, meet each other, walk the like 15 feet, hug, go into our separate classrooms. We did it like 8 times a day. And we never even talked to each other. We just did a lot of hugs. We were actually taken aside by the social studies teacher at one point, who said that she didn't mind, she thought we were absolutely adorable, but that we were making the math teacher nervous. But that lasted for 3 months. I think I broke up with him just because I got incredibly bored, since we didn't do anything else but hug. So I kind of just went, "Hey Alex, I'm breaking up with you." Never talked to him again in my life. This is Jimmy. He was one of my really close friends when he asked me out in 7th grade. And so I hadn't yet learned how to say no. So I did one of those like terrible girl pity date things where I was like, "Shit, I have to go out with you because you're my friend, but I don't actually like you. So we're gonna date for like 2 weeks until you really piss me off." Which is what we did, actually. But it was slightly complicated by the fact that he really, really liked me, and thereby told everybody he saw that I was his girlfriend, and called me at home, and his mother told my father at a PTO meeting that we were dating, and there was like an interrogation. That's when he was over. But we're still friends, actually. I don't know how that worked. And this is Dan. He was the first person who tried to take me on a date. This was 8th grade. He asked me to a dance, which I then went to, and we never saw each other since both our parents drove us, and we showed up at different times, we hung out with different people. I actually never saw him at the dance. I was incredibly pissed by this since I thought we were going together. And then we like went trick-or-treating together or something, and I determined that he was an idiot. And that, yeah, so that failed. And this kid, I don't associate with him. This is the only picture I could find. It was the little like icon of him on Facebook. That's why it's so blurry, but he's the one with the arrow pointing at him. This was Bill. Bill, I asked out. I had been like staring at him. He was in a couple of my classes. I like really liked him. I thought he was really cool. He like wore the really, really low jeans and the like enormous t-shirts. So I went up to him at his locker at the end of the day, and I was like, Bill, will you go out with me? And he looked me up and down, and he looked kind of confused, and so I just kind of stood there and waited, and he was like, are you in any English class? And then I switched schools the next year, so I never got to know him. I don't think he ever figured out whether I was in his English class because I bolted. And this is the reason this is the best picture I can get of him.